Tell me, what was the dream? What were you seeking to create that was different to other services when you go back 25 years?
Well, it was a colleague, a psychiatric colleague called Bron Beecham, and she'd said there was a research study that was going, a randomised controlled trial in Victoria, in Melbourne, run by a psychiatrist, who's a professor of psychiatry, David Kissane, and he was wanting to research the value of groups for women with metastatic breast cancer, because there'd been a finding in the United States where this supportive expressive group model was pioneered in the 80s. And they had found there was a survival benefit. So there were these trials set up in Canada and another one in America and one in Australia to see if they could replicate that finding. We were invited originally, I was invited by Bron to be one of the therapists involved in this trial. But then they decided they would only restrict the trial to being conducted in Melbourne. So by that stage, we'd read a lot about David Spiegel and this model and these groups. I mean, the reason they pioneered it using women with metastatic breast cancer is because there are a lot of them. You know, as you know, breast cancer is the most common cancer that women develop. We were already aware that there were, if there was not a survival benefit, there were significant psychological, psychosocial benefits. So we said, well, look, we're not going to be part of the trial, why don't we just do it as a clinical service? So we started in May 1999, and we would only have maybe 4 women, 5 women in the room for the first little while, until gradually it got to be known a bit more. Within a very short period of time, we started to get phone calls from women and health professionals outside Brisbane saying, look, we've heard about your group, but we have metastatic breast cancer, or I've got a patient who has, and there's nothing out there like that out here for them. Can you do anything to support them? So we said yes. The internet was really only not widely available or familiar to people. Video conferencing wasn't a thing. It was very expensive if you did it. So we did for a year, we trialled delivering the group by face-to-face and telephone using teleconference, which was very expensive at that time. And we knew then we had to get money. So we applied to Queensland Health to get some money and cover our teleconference expenses. And that's really how it started as a statewide group. That was about 2001 or something like that. Like, we had a qualitative researcher interview all the women in the group, those in face-to-face and those who joined by telephone. And, you know, to evaluate the group and evaluate the experience. And the women said, look, the telephone is the next best thing. And they started to say, it's a lifeline to us. You know, we don't have any support where we live. And even Brisbane women were saying similar things, that there weren't any groups specifically for women with metastatic disease, and the groups, mixed groups, weren't so helpful to them. And then on the basis of the evaluation, we went to Queensland Health and said we want some money, and so it just evolved from that.